Welcome back to Pedalboards of Doom. My name is Scott Gaylor. Today we are going to talk about 5 reasons you should or should not buy the Mikko Reflex IR plugin. Alright, so let's start with the obvious. This was sent to us by the guys from ML Sound Lab. They make some amazing plugins and guitar amps and drum sounds and all sorts of stuff. This is going to be our first time demoing a plugin on the channel that I'm aware of anyways, at least for me. I do a ton of IR work with a TateFX. I do a ToneX Captor X. I do a regular ToneX, and I even have the new TateFX Core. So the Mikko Reflex is a very interesting IR plugin. It is very unique in the sense of can have 9 microphones or 8 microphones at a time, which honestly is overkill. I've only done 7 once. I did 7 microphones on an acoustic track called Clean Bar Soap that was on my second solo instrumental record called Irish Exit. And it took a lot to get all the phase right, and it was a big room, and it was worth it, but it was a lot of work. At least with this being a plugin, you're going to be able to move around and exchange and move things through. So that will make it a little bit easier. Now let's talk about all the different pros and cons of this. Right out of the gate, you get 18 speakers and 8 microphone options, and you can combine them any which way that you want. So definite plus on that factor. Just amazing on that end. Now the 112 cab that they're using in this was co-designed with Paul from Zilla Cabs, and basically it's a fat baby cab. So it's an oversized 112 meant for audio recording. It's not meant to be a stage cab. It's not meant to, I guess you could use it as a monitor cab, but it's primarily meant to be a recording cab. When you use a 412 cab to record, you're going to get a lot of rumble and secondary sounds and overtones from the other speakers, and that's why you see every speaker in the cab, it sounds different when you mic it up. A lot of times, I know I personally use a 421 and an SM57, and when I'm using that, especially with the Sennheiser, I want to get everything close and tight, and there's a whole maneuver to it. So on that particular thing, it becomes kind of, you want to search the cab to find the right speaker. This eliminates that. You have one speaker, you have a 360-degree rotation of sound. So anywhere on the cone, anywhere on the speaker edge, anywhere on the speaker itself. You have off axis, on axis. You can move the angle, resonance. You can move the mic front to back. It's pretty amazing. Now, one of the nice things, if you're new to this, if you're new to home recording and IRs and that kind of stuff, this is going to be a big plus for you. This is going to give you cab-ready mixes. So you've downloaded, I don't know, you're using ToneX, you're using Neural DSP plugins, you're using Quad Cortex, who knows? You've got 10,000 different things you could possibly use, but you can't find the right cab, the one that is your cab. So what this is going to do is allow you to dial in exactly what you want. And if you've never used real mics, this is going to be really amazing for you, because you're going to be able to move things forward, move things backwards, adjust things, just do a bunch of cool stuff that you've never been able to do unless you've been to a real studio. And that can kind of be an interesting take in itself, because it can be a pain in the butt sometimes trying to get everything you way you want it to be. So definitely something you want to keep in mind. And it's kind of the old, when I used to sell guitars for a living, one of the things I would do is I would tell people to get a modeling amp, like a Line 6 or a Mustang, or now it would be a Katana, but I wasn't selling guitars when Katanas came out, because it was like going to a buffet. You could try a little chorus, you could try a little phaser, you could try a little delay, you could try a bunch of things, then decide what you like. So you got your son or daughter a guitar and an amp and starter kit. You weren't really sure what it was going to do and all that. Same thing. Everybody's going to buy an SM57. That's the go-to cab mic for everybody. That's the first cab mic. Then after that, are you going to spend the $1,500 on a 121 from Royer? Are you going to spend anywhere from $400 to $600 on a Sennheiser? Are you going to get a vintage Sennheiser? Are you going to get a Mark II? Are you going to get one of the new ones? There's a bunch of versions in there. Like, this will help you kind of get to that point before you start dropping big coin. Now, this is my favorite part. Once you've gone through all the work, you've done everything, you've made the amp the way you want it to be, you dialed it in, you got it set up, right? You got it perfect. Now you can save that IR and put it into whatever, your Helix, your Quad Cortex, your GT1000, etc. The best part, well, I don't know what setting to use. Should it be 96? Should it be 44? Should it be 48? No problem. Go to page 15 on the manual. Has a setting for each one on how to export them out so that you get the maximum quality of the IR you just created so that you can have that in your own system. So you've done all the work. You spent the hours creating, fine-tuning the EQ, fine-tuning the mic placement, getting everything right for the chugs. But you're like, man, I can only use this on my laptop. How is this going to work? Boom. I use a GT1000. I would just transfer it out, put it in my GT1000, and I'm good to go. Okay, so in Pedalboards of Doom tradition, we must give a con for this. And this one's a tough one, man. It's got one con, and that is there's too much stuff. And I know that's like, you're probably saying to yourself, how is that a con? It's too much stuff, man. There's so many mic options, so many speaker options, so many movement options. It's just tough to get everything where you want it to be. But it's got great presets. It's got a mix adjust. There's all types of things you can do. There's so many great default presets right out of the gate that will help you kind of get started. That kind of makes up for it. But that to me would be the only downside. All right, so I'm going to go through some playing examples, and while I'm doing this, I'm going to screen capture my unit here on my MacBook Pro. It's I think it's a 2022, might be a 2023. I'm using a UA Audio Volt 2. I'm not sure which Volt 2 that is. I know there's a couple, but that's the one. And I'm going to use a 2 Notes Revolt guitar analog setup. And the cab is off on this, so you're going to hear that. I'm going to put my headphones on now so I can hear this, but as I play through...
All right, so let's start this out simple. I'm going to bypass... Actually, it is bypassed. And let you hear it with a nasty crunch. It's terrible. No cab sim. That's just all preamp. For comparison, this is the Revolt's cab sim. So turn that off, and there we go. So first thing we've got is I'm going to go to just the default one, which is here. And it's a 3 mic setup. Right, let's turn that on so you can actually hear it. I'm going to turn my volume up on the Volt a little bit. I'm in the crunch mode. I'm going to add a little boost. All right, definitely like that. It's pretty simple, and that's just, I've done nothing. This is the 3 mic, this is the setup. So a couple things you can do. If you grab a mic and you drag it all the way over, it goes away. Very, very easy. Now you can move, and as you see as it's moving, I'm getting really big EQ changes. Now you're not hearing that yet because I've got only so much I can do with one hand. Got to be honest, right there, that's already way better and super simple. The next part of this is, what I like here is I can change my EQ. If you ever used a fab filter or anything like that, this is very similar to that. So we just move. You can really kind of take a scalpel to those frequencies and get it exactly where you want it to be. So let's go. I'm going to go to what is my standard setup. So my standard setup, as much as I like the 121, I don't own one. What I mic at home is a 421 Sennheiser and a SM7B, and they actually go right down there. So this is much closer to what I use, but I mic it a little bit closer to this. Let's see if we're in the same ballpark. Now granted, this is not my rig of choice, so to speak. I'm using, obviously, 2 notes gain. And in this case, there's no other gain added. I'm using just what the unit has. And you can hear there's some noise, but that's a bunch of things. There's no noise gate. That's the room. There's a whole bunch of things going on there. And if I move this, so if I solo, I'm going to solo, in this case, the 57. So you're just hearing the 57 right now. As I move that, you can really hear the typical 57 snarl on that. And I think I want to angle this a little bit. Let's change my tilt. There we go. So that's the 57 soloed. Let's do the Sennheiser and click that. Actually unsolo. And we're going to do this over here. Now this is the 421 Sennheiser style mic. So in the middle of that, I switched to crunch just because I'm liking the crunch sound a little bit better on this than I am liking the traditional high gain. Maybe it's because I'm playing the 74 today, who knows. So simple. I'm pretty happy with that. I might carve it out a little bit. Okay, don't hate it. Kind of love it. All right, so now the fun part. We're going to go ahead and save this and make this usable. So I'm going to go to export, click on export. In this case, it's going to give me a bunch of different sample rates in wave format. I'm going to click 9600 because, or 96,000, because that's what I use. I have a GT1000. That's my primary amp modeler slash all-around pedal board, and doing that in mono, and I want that in 32-bit because why not? Hit export. Where am I going to save it to? I'm going to call this SG1. I'm going to save it to my desktop and click that, save, and that's it. It's done. If I click my desktop, actually, you know what? It's going to be easier just to do this. If I go to desktop here, and you can see it, there's SG1 Wave, and now I can just load that in as an IR into anything that I want to use. And, well, anything except 96. If not, I would change it based on the unit that I'm using, whether it be a Tonex or Quad Cortex. Actually, I have pretty much everything but the Quad Cortex at the moment. I guess I should probably break down and buy one of those soon. So there you go, man. That is a really, I'm going to mute, actually just going to go to clean, take the noise out. I'm super excited about this. I think this is a great unit. If you've done any sort of IR creation, and I'm not talking about actual capturing. I have capturing stuff, and I'm doing that currently using the 2-note capture system. But it can be a pain in the butt, man. There's a lot of moving parts. You got to spend money on microphones. This is going to do everything for you in-house. It's going to allow you to sample different things. So I think it's pretty amazing. Anyways, just want to say thank you from the Pedalboards of Doom guys. Go to our Facebook page, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. My name is Scott Gaylor. Be nice to each other. Peace.